Am I going down a rabbit hole of just trying more and more extreme things to get this outcome that I so desperately want? If you're in a place of desperation for your weight loss, whatever method you use to lose the weight is a method you need to use. What happens if we have more lean muscle on our body? We're combating the decrease in lean muscle mass that is happening with age. We're also strengthening our bones, and it's also going to help with it. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. Today, we are going solo. So you may be noticing a trend on Thursdays. I'm going to be doing some more solo episodes because I have more things on my heart that I'd love to share with you as we're nearing the end of the year, and as you know, we're going to be going around for Thanksgiving and then the Christmas and the holiday seasons. And it tends to be the time of the year that is the hardest for people to navigate when it comes to food, when it comes to fitness, staying on track. And with ultimately the magical date of January 1st, where most people will gain superpowers to be able to get in shape in 2025. So I want to be able to provide you some one-on-one pieces of advice. All right, welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast. I'm your show host, Maxime Sigouin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, a company that is on a mission to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. I believe that having a fit, healthy body and mind is the foundation to living an incredible life. And this is what we'll show will give you if you choose to listen and implement. Enjoy the episode and have a great day. But today, as you can read by the title, right, something along the lines of Untangling Desperation Diet's a real solution for long-term fat loss. So as you know, in order to work with us for our Fit Vegan coaching program, you have to book an application call. The reason why we do that is because we guarantee our transformations with our members. And in order to do that, we need to be able to know your current situation, because if some people are dealing with some major chronic illnesses or have a really bad relationship with food, potentially they're not a right fit to start the transformation with us. And so we usually get, we have our team to take those goal setting calls initially, which are the application, but we had a big influx of people starting our program. I think it's because they're wanting to end the year strong. And because our team had a little bit too many calls, I decided to step in. I haven't taken those calls in a very, very long time. And honestly, it was such a blessing to take those calls. It was really fun to kind of reconnect with, you know, the initial stages of the program, because, you know, Fit Vegan's been around for 4.5 years. As you see, the amount of content that we put out of podcasts and interviews and YouTube videos and newsletter, that's where I spend the majority of my time and on coaching our members. And so I've stopped doing those initial calls many, many years ago, but I had the pleasure of taking a few of them this past weekend. And I'm going to share some things with you that kind of arose for me, I think, during those conversations that I want to pass off to all of you that I think would be helpful. One of the ladies who ended up joining the program for a year was very excited for a transformation, very excited to help her get untangled. That's one of the analogies that I've shared with her. And again, not to pinpoint her story, but this is something that is very amongst people that I see that have struggled to lose weight for a long time. You know, they go on very drastic diets, you know, a 900 calorie, a 500 calorie. I've even heard people being on a 250 calorie per day diet because they were doing some type of program or diet doctor or some other thing that, you know, they deemed was a good use of their time and their energy. And as I was talking to her and she was sharing her story, saying how little she was eating, how she was taking X supplements to suppress her appetite, and it was looking at GLP-1 medication, it was doing all these drastic methods. I was like, whoa, I can see how through, you know, desperately wanting to lose the weight, because I understand that it is uncomfortable to have excess body fat on your body. Again, not necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint, but just from feeling good in your own skin and being able to move throughout the day without limitation. Because mind you, I used to be 240 pounds and I remember what that felt like. And I remember in my own story how when I started, I had this somewhat reasonable approach to losing fat, kind of like what a lot of the people that I spoke to on those calls had. But then as I wasn't able to stick to those plans and have the adherence necessary to get the results that I wanted, I kept looking for shortcuts. And what happened over the years is I kept getting more and more extreme with my approach to lose the weight. So I was getting more and more desperate to lose the weight. So I would be willing to try things that initially might have sounded stupid and dumb, but I was so desperate at that time that I was like, okay, I'm going to try eating 2,000 calorie as a 6'4" male weighing 240 pounds. I'm going to try eating 1,500 calories. I'm going to try eating 1,000 calories. Like, I've been there personally. And so hearing the stories of people that are, again, and I don't say that word, use that word disrespectfully, but desperate to lose the weight, we kind of lose track of what is healthy or what would be a normal approach to losing the weight. And we just go for whatever we think will be able to help because we're just trying to latch on to a solution because we want this problem solved. And so hearing stories of women eating 500 calories, being on all those expensive supplements that, diet clinics would be like, hey, you have to buy $400 of supplements a month and you have to drink these shakes if you want to lose the weight. We both can hear that it's unsustainable to do that. Again, I know that it is a gimmick to buy these supplements and that's how they make their money through the weight loss, but it's not serving and helping anyone. And honestly, I was getting very angry throughout the call. It's not obviously at the person, but the fact that there's people out there telling you to do these extreme methods. Like, at the end of the day, and again, everything I say is not to offend anyone, so I'm just going to speak bluntly, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if I starve someone and I make them over-exercise, that they're going to lose weight. If I starve you, yes, you're going to lose weight. You can ask a child that, and he will also tell you the answer that it's easy to lose the weight if you're starving yourself and over-exercising. So you don't need to be an expert in body composition to know that. You can ask your neighbor and he would tell you that. Is it the best method for you to lose the weight? No. But when you're in a place where you're desperate to lose the weight and you've tried many different things and you're just looking to latch on to a solution, having to buy $400 of shakes and pills and powders and starving yourself and exercising for an hour and a half every day starts to seem reasonable at that point, right? It's kind of that point of delusion the more you go into that process. And so I just want to share for those of you that, again, I know it's a smaller percentage of you that are listening to the podcast that may be in that position, but if you are in that position, if you know someone in that position, pass along the podcast to them. I want you to know that there is a way out, okay? So I'm not here to judge because I've been there. I've eaten 1,000 calories a day, 800 calories a day. I've done hours of cardio every single day, like over a decade ago when I didn't know what I know now. And through having coached 800 plus people, I've been able to identify the main key patterns that need to happen in order to transform someone successfully while making it sustainable. So I want you to know that there is a sustainable way out. If you focus on eating a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, if you focus on staying within your metrics of caloric expenditure for the day, a caloric intake, you focus on hitting your protein for the day, you focus on eating 80 to 90% whole food, plant-based, and the rest can be foods that you enjoy a little bit more for that mental freedom. Because if you go from a junk food eater or a junk food vegan and I ask you to eat 100% whole food, plant-based, clean all the time, you're going to freak out. You'll be like, I really want this food and I can't have it. And therefore I want more of it. And then when you eat it, you just end up indulging more. It's like, I messed up. I shouldn't have had this food. And therefore you end up eating more of it. I've been there myself multiple times. So I had to figure out that if I want a vegan donut, I can have the vegan donut that day. I can make it fit within my metrics, understanding that the rest of my calories from the day are 100% whole food, plant-based. They're nutritious, they're high in fiber, and they're good for me. I realize that for myself and for a lot of the clients that we coach, if we don't put that mental limitation of being able to eat a food and they just allow themselves to eat the food and they go like, great, I enjoyed myself, but I feel better when I eat these foods and I'm not going to beat myself up because I ate something that wasn't the best. When they don't beat themselves up, they get back on track a lot faster. And it's a getting back on track a lot faster with the consistency of action that ends up bringing you to your final destination. And so the reason why I want to record this podcast is because if you're in a place of desperation for your weight loss, just trying to maybe listen to this podcast or use it as a moment of clarity to be like, am I going down a rabbit hole of just trying more and more extreme things to get this outcome that I so desperately want? And if you are, understanding that going down this rabbit hole of more and more extreme measures is not the solution. Because always remember, whatever method you use to lose the weight is a method you need to use to keep the weight off. And so if you learn that you have to buy $400 of supplements every month and you need to starve yourself and over-exercise every single day, well, guess what's going to happen when you're going to be done that program, that diet clinic, that diet doctor, that whatever it may be? That is what your brain knows to stay fit and healthy, right? There's air quotes on here if you're listening on the audio, right? It's not really fit and healthy. You're just going to be really skinny. So that's what your brain will know as the path to stay that way. And so you need to be able to transform your body in a way that will allow you to eat in a way that will be sustainable once you're done your transformation, and exercise in a way that will be sustainable once you're done your transformation. We make our members exercise 3 to 4 times a week from 20 to 45 minutes, depending on what their schedule is like, depending on what their goal is like. If they have bigger athletic goals, which make them train a little bit longer, it's very dependent. But for the most part, 3 to 4 times a week, 20 to 45 minutes. For the nutrition, we keep it simple. Let's eat whole food plant-based, right? Let's focus on their energy intake. Let's focus on our protein per day, because again, we're looking to improve our body composition. The goal is not just to drop weight on the scale, but the goal is to drop fat on the scale. So if you go in a steep calorie deficit, let's just say you go on one of those diets and you eat 500 or 1,000 calories a day. By doing that drastic of a calorie drop, your body's survival mechanism kick in. And so when they kick in, they'll be like, okay, we have a lot less energy coming in. We have all this energy going out. We have this stored fat as a source of energy. Your body is not seeing the stored fat as a bad thing. It sees it as a good thing because it is stored energy for the future. So it's going to look at the vehicle that is your body, and it's going to look at, okay, what are the current systems that we have in our body that demand a lot of energy per day, because we don't have a lot of energy coming in. It's going to look at all those systems, and it's going to prioritize the ones that are necessary. Your organs, digestions, all these fun things. One thing that costs a lot of calorie per day, a lot of energy, is maintaining lean muscle mass. And so when you go in a steep calorie deficit and there is that big decrease in energy intake, your body will get rid of a big energy intake or whatever. It'll get rid of something that costs a lot of energy to maintain. Muscle is going to be one of those first things to go. And so if you go on a diet from, let's just say your maintenance is 2,000 and you drop to 500 and you drop 10 pounds, according to studies, roughly 50% of that will be lean muscle mass and the other 50% will be fat. And so out of losing 10 pounds on the scale, which to you may seem like a win, you'll have lost 5 pounds of muscle. That takes a very long time to put on, right? So just to put in perspective in terms of ratio, it can take like pure lean muscle gain, 10 to 15 pounds of muscle in 8 to 12 months to put on, of just pure lean muscle, right? I'm not talking with fat, with glycogen, of pure lean muscle. 10, 15 pounds will take you 8 to 12 months. Losing 10 to 15 pounds will take you 10 to 15 weeks. Right? Very different time frame to put on lean muscle compared to losing body fat. And so when you do those desperation diets, those steep calorie deficits, you're burning through a lot of your lean muscle mass. And here's why it's important to not do that, because the majority of people we work with are, I say on average, 64-year-old women. That's kind of our average, but most people are between 50 and 84 years old. Okay. Maybe 70% women, 30% men. We all know that as we get older, there's a higher decrease in lean muscle mass. There's a higher decrease in bone density. There's a higher increase in injury. And so what happens if we have more lean muscle on our body? We're combating the decrease in lean muscle mass that is happening with age. We're also strengthening our bones because you're doing bone-bearing activity through your strength and resistance training. It's also helping with hormone balancing as well. And it's also going to help with injury prevention, because if you have more lean muscle mass on your muscle and around your joints, when you're performing a movement, the muscle will be able to take the load versus the ligament and tendons, and you're less likely to get injured. And so I'm not saying to look like Arnold, but to have some lean muscle mass on your body is tremendously beneficial as you get older, and understanding that there is a more rapid decrease in lean muscle mass as you get older, it becomes even more important to ensure that we are maintaining what we have and putting on even more so that we can combat it. Okay. So hopefully I get my point across in terms of not going to a steep calorie deficit, because it is so counterproductive in so many ways. And so if you find yourself being in that state of desperation and trying to latch on to a solution, if it is a quick solution that doesn't address the underlying issue, just know that it will be a temporary patch, and potentially it will be diving you deeper and deeper into the hole. So when I spoke to this new Fit Vegan member and she was done explaining her journey, her story, and where she was at and where she wanted to go, I told her it sounds like Those old Apple headphones that had the cable on them? You pull them out of your pocket and somehow they're just all tangled together, and you're trying to pull it and make it straight, but it just feels clunky, and it's really hard to kind of undo all of it. That's why I call the title of the podcast Untangling the Desperation Diet. It just feels like those headphones are stuck. And I was like, okay, I'm listening to your story and I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to untangle all of the things that you've done to your body that haven't been healthy or beneficial to the end goal that you're trying to get. And so I wanted to record this podcast for a reason, because if that's you and you're at the beginning stages of starting to tangle your health and your fitness and your body composition, I'm hoping I can stop you from tangling it even more and not going into the hole of desperation and trying to latch onto a solution that won't be sustainable. And if you are in that hole of desperation and you've tangled, some of this process in your life, I hope that we can stop the entanglement and start to undo it and put you in a healthy position. Because there is a world where you can exercise 3 times a week for 30 minutes, eat, 2,000 to 2,400 calorie if you're a woman, to 3,400 calorie if you're a man. Again, theoretical average depends on your height and all that, but a lot of the women, when we finish the reverse dieting, they're eating 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, 2,400 to maintain a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pound fat loss, right? So that's with the power of reverse dieting, which phase 2 of our program. And so I want you to know that there is a world where you can consume a lot of food, good food, still be able to have the flexibility to travel, eat out at the restaurant, go to social events, learn and know how to make the right decision in those circumstances, be able to train minimally, be in a position where your body is fit, it is healthy, it is not a limitation to you living your best life, meaning your joints aren't hurting all day, your body's not hurting all day. If you want to be able to hike with your friends, instead of just to be able to do the beginning part, you can do the whole thing with them. Instead of being the last of the group, you can be the first in the group. Even as you get older, we've seen it with our members that are in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s. It is possible. And again, to me, it's even more impressive as you get older, because we work with a lot of members that love to do some races after they're done their body recomposition. And a lot of time they end up winning their age group, because a lot of people that are in their 60s and their 70s can't do a race at that high of a level. And so the competition is less, but it's more impressive because it shows that most people that are in that population age can't even comprehend doing something like that. And so simply the act of finishing a 10K or a triathlon or a 5K or a big hike is impressive, not because that there's less competitors, but because there's less competitors because most people can't even comprehend being able to do that at that age. That is something that's possible for you. So my purpose with this podcast is to make you understand that you don't have to live in this world of desperation, of just struggling with your weight. There is a way out. And again, I'm not saying that what we do is magical and there's no one else that does what we do, but frankly, there's no one else that does it the way that we do, right? That's the unique part about how we coach our member. It's the way that we do it. The components can be found multiple different places, but it's the way that it's been structured and stitched together, and how we help our members get there through accountability and support through a path of non-perfection, because we understand that you're just not going to be perfect through this whole journey. And I'm going to tie this back to the desperation diet. Most people start to fall into the hole of desperation diets because they have started something potentially initially that was sustainable, but they weren't in the right mind frame to actually take on the challenges that were necessary to overcome to have the sustainable transformation. And unfortunately, as humans, we tend to change when there's a lot of pain and a lot of uncomfortability. And so if things are, you have a little bit of weight on you, you're trying to sustainable diet, but mentally you're not struggling, you're not in a place of desperation, you might not want to confront the fact that you have a bad relationship with food, that you have a bad relationship with yourself, that you don't love yourself, that you need to love yourself, that you're terrible at managing your time, that you need to prioritize very differently, right? A lot of people don't want to face these truths until they're deep into the desperation diet hole, and they go like, I'm so in pain, I will do anything to change. And then they're like, okay, well, the thing to change is let's confront these things that have been limiting you, because truthfully, if you do a resistance training plan, if I give you a strength training plan, if I give you a fit vegan meal plan, okay, you owning these two things will not guarantee you a transformation. You doing them is what will get you to transformation. So the art of coaching and transformation, and what most people miss, they think it's about the meal plan, they think it's about the training plan. The meal plan and training plan is just like us as coaches paving a beautiful road for you to get to where you want to. It's like, hey, just get in the car and drive this road and you'll get to your destination. But the thing with the human brain is we have past trauma, we have past experiences that get in the way. There's life that will throw you obstacles and stressors. And so you're going to have to navigate difficult conversation with others, with yourself. You have to handle stressors that life will throw your way that you may not be ready to handle. And that's why having someone by your side is so important. But owning the plan, having the road is not the secret. Keeping you on the road, getting you to do the plan is the secret. And what that comes down to is your psychology and your mindset. And all we need from our members is not perfection, is a willingness to improve. If you have a willingness to improve, if there is a challenge, you will take it on head first. Like, you know what? I've been messing it up because I have this bad relationship with myself, or I have this bad relationship with food, or I need to have this conversation with someone that's in my environment that's causing negativity and stress that's causing me to eat this food, right? So if we remove the stress, then we don't have the issue. But potentially someone that's been nagging at you for a long time, you just need to have a really honest conversation with them. Some of you are in a really bad environment. Again, your environment will dictate how you look. If you're overweight and unhealthy and unfit, that is a result of your current environment. I am a result of my environment, and I've tailored my environment to have the life that I want. And so did our members. Our members that struggle with their weight, that struggle with their fitness, have built a new environment and community around them to allow them to become this new person that they want to become. And so, I'm getting very passionate about this, but I hope you guys get the point across that there is a way out. There is a sustainable way to do it, but the sustainable way requires the same thing as all these drastic methods that you are trying. They both demand the same thing of you, adherence, okay? If you can figure out that the goal is progression and not perfection, and if you can figure out that consistency compounds, meaning you're not going to want to show up every day. Some days you may not show up, but doing the best that you can with what you have, meaning if you feel 50% of the day, here's where I tell my members, give 100% of that 50%. If you do that, those small increments of percentages every day, we can compound that over time to getting you to your transformation. So progression over perfection and consistency compounds. If you do these things, it will help you have enough adherence to the plan to get you to the outcome that you want. And so now you just have to choose, am I going to do a really drastic method because I am impatient and I want results yesterday? Or am I ready to solve this once and for all and start to develop healthy habits and eat in a way that I know I can actually eat for the rest of my life, right? And if you guys notice this, but I started recording Fit Vegan Success Story follow-ups episodes with members that have been out of the program 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years. So you guys can see that this is actually sustainable. It's not just me saying it. We have people saying it. You can hear directly from them. And so you just get to choose. Do you want to be impatient and go for drastic methods because you want results yesterday, which you know ultimately will just lead to your demise and continue to bring you deeper into the desperation diets? Or do you want to take a stand for yourself and be like, let's just solve this once and for all and do the right thing and do it right? It may take a little bit longer. It'll be mentally more challenging, but I understand that if I take this on, my mind will level up, my health will level up, my fitness will level up. And guess what? When you establish an incredible transformation and body for yourself, it is the foundation upon which you can live an incredible life. So not only your health and your body will improve, but also your relationships, your career, your finances, the quality of your relationship with your kids, with your partner, with your parents, with your friends, with your coworker, because you just have more confidence in yourself. You have more internal peace because you know you are in control. When you're down the hole of desperation diet, you feel at the mercy of your own mind. You feel at the mercy of your own body. You tell yourself, I can't control myself when I'm around these foods. I can't control myself when I'm in these environments. There's nothing empowering about that. So you need to take that control back. You need to take that power back. But here's the thing. It's always been yours to take. All it required was for you to make the decision to do so and to commit. Because once you make the decision, life will throw you challenges to test you to make sure if you actually want it. And so once you commit, be ready to take on those challenges. And it's like playing a video game. It's like doing anything else, right? It's like committing to a relationship, right? We recently got married in January of beginning of this year. It's almost a year now of being married. So very excited to celebrate my anniversary. But once you get married, it's not all sunshine and rainbow. And before you get married and you commit to your partner, it's not all sunshine and rainbow as well. There's going to be ups, but there's going to be downs. But you don't quit because you are committed to your partner. You're committed to making this work. And so you need the same level of commitment to yourself. You're not committing to your coach. You're not committing to your community. You're not committing to your partner. You're committing to yourself. And I'm going to record another podcast on this, another solo episode that will be out next week. And it's going to be about the side effects of not taking care of yourself, and have some pretty horrific stories to share with you. So those recently happened as well. So I was very angry, but I just felt like I needed to do a podcast on it. So just be sure to stay tuned for that next Thursday. That's going to be live. But I hope I got my point across. If you are in that desperation hole, stop yourself. Know that there's a better way out. And all it requires from you is to make the commitment to stick to this healthy path and sustainable path, and to be willing to take on the challenges that will be thrown your way. Call it life throwing you challenges, call it God throwing you challenges. It is just there to test you, to make sure that you really want this thing. And so if you don't care, like genuinely, and it has to be an honest answer for yourself. If you don't care about being overweight, uncomfortable in your body, having your body be a limitation to you living your best life, if you don't care about not having a lot of energy, if you don't care about being uncomfortable in your body, you genuinely don't, well, first of all, don't take this on, right? Second, I would make you reconsider the perspective from you to others, because majority of you listening to this have a partner, have kids, have grandkids, or have people that care about you, okay? I've been in the position of a caregiver for almost 5 years to my late partner who passed away from breast cancer. I know what it's like to be on the caregiver side. I don't know what it's like to be on the sick side. And I can't even imagine what that was like. It was the most painful thing I've ever gone through as a caregiver. So I can't even imagine suffering through health loss. So I'm going to speak from the perspective of someone that has taken care of someone that they love and that had to see them suffer and couldn't do shit about it, okay? If you don't take care of yourself, all those people that you're putting first in your life that you care for, and you're saying, I can't exercise and eat healthy because I'm taking care, I'm spending more time with this, or I'm working on this, but whatever it may be. If you don't take care of yourself, all those people that you love will be forced to take care of you. Okay. And they will do it because they love you. But internally, they will be dying inside because they love you. They don't want to see you suffer, and they can't do anything for you because you are the only one that gets to choose if you're going to eat healthy food, if you're going to exercise, if you're going to prioritize your sleep, if you're going to prioritize your mental health. And so it's not that they won't take care of you. They will gladly take care of you because they love you. But internally, just know that you're killing them slowly because they have to see you suffer, and they just want to be able to solve the problem so that you can feel healthy and whole again. And just know that that is the amount of pressure you're going to be putting on them. And a lot of you may be caring for a sick parent, a sick partner, a sick kid, whatever it may be. If you're caring for someone that is older than you, like your parents or whatever it may be, and they're not eating healthy and they're not exercising, think how frustrating that is for you if you are someone that eats healthy and is exercising, right? I have several clients that take care of their sick parents and are trying to get them to eat whole food, plant-based, and go for walks and kind of exercise, and they don't want to. And my client's like, it's so frustrating. I'm like, yeah. But if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to put your kids through the exact same thing that you're going through, right? So just, if I'm able to kind of reframe and shift the perspective for you to really understand the consequences of you not taking care of yourself and going down those desperation diet holes, not eating whole food, plant-based, not exercising, then I've done my job. Again, I've said this multiple times on podcasts. If I could have the superpower or just flip that switch in people's mind, that would be the best superpower I've ever had. And the only way I found to get close to that is through asking questions and through talking, which is why we're here on the podcast. All right. So that's just a message I want to pass with you today. So I honestly hope that it resonates with some of you that listen to this episode. If you know someone that would benefit from it, share it from them. That's why I do the podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, because in 2 more weeks after this episode goes live, it'll be 4 years of me doing the Fit Vegan podcast, which is wild. I don't know how many episodes will be, but probably 350 some episodes at that point. Talk about consistency compounds. I've been doing this consistently for 4 years, and it's paid off. I'm grateful for all the beautiful messages that I get from you, from y'all listening to the episode, and the impact that it's having in your life. And so just a massive thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope something clicked. And if something clicked and you feel inspired right now, I invite you to take action on it, because that click, that inspiration, that motivation will go away. The only thing that lasts is commitment. And so make this commitment for yourself. Take action towards what you care about, right? And if you want some help with that, obviously we're here to serve you. That is why I started Fit Vegan Coaching, to help people not end up in a position of my late partner, right? I don't want anyone to struggle with cancer, with heart disease, with diabetes, with Alzheimer, or any of the big chronic illnesses. That is why I started Fit Vegan Coaching. So if you want help, I'm here to serve you. If you want to do it on your own, enjoy the free content. There's a lot in our Facebook group and all of that. And so I just want to say massive thank you for listening. And we have a great guest podcast next Tuesday. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.